Kirby. By far my favorite video game franchise of all time. I'm not sure if you could tell, but I'm kind of a Kirby fan. I've played almost every game in the series, and these being the only ones I haven't played. But there exists one that many, and I mean many people have not played, and that's because it was on the Wii U, and is still only on the Wii U. It released in between these two games, which are significantly more popular than this one. But I want this game to be remembered. I want more people to play this game, even if not many people own a Wii U. But before I talk about that, I'm going to share my history of when I first became a Kirby fan. What was my first Kirby game? What started my obsession with the series? When did this all start? Well, let's go all the way back to January of 2016. I had just gotten my Wii U for Christmas in 2015, and I was playing the heck out of Super Mario Maker. But eventually, I started to get bored with it. The Wii U I had gotten was the model that came with 2 games downloaded, and the games mine had were Splatoon and Smash 4. Splatoon wasn't really a game that interested me until I watched my sister play it, and I wasn't a fan of Smash Bros. Yeah, that aged well. But I wanted to do more on my Wii U, so I just said why not, and this is how I eventually got into the Smash Bros. Series. However, there is one amazing thing that Smash 4 has, and that is the Masterpieces mode. You get to play demos of a handful of games that were the origins of characters from the roster. I remember scrolling through them and saw Kirby's Dream Land. I wasn't familiar with Kirby at all, and I only knew him from Smash Bros. But this game right here just stood out from the others. Why is it black and white? I debated in my head whether or not if I should play it, and eventually I just did. And the moment I played the first level, I was immediately hooked. I had never played anything like this. What was Kirby doing? Breathing? This tiny demo inside a big game on a console only 4 people owned literally changed my life. I was wondering if there were any Kirby games on the Wii U that I could play, and remembered seeing a commercial for Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, and asked my parents to get it, and fast forward all the way to summer of that year, and there it was, my very first Kirby game. No, not that one specifically. This one. Yeah, this is my childhood copy. And you can tell that I played this game a lot. The reason why I have 2 copies is because I was going to replay this game with my old one, but it sadly didn't work because of all the deep scratches the disc had. So sadly, I had to buy a new copy, but thankfully Wii U games are still cheap. It has been years since I last played this game. I don't even remember how long it's been, but my guess is somewhere before 2020, so it's been a very long time. But now it's time for me to play this game once again after so long. 99%. I remember being awful at the challenge stages, and that's the only reason why I never made it to 100%. But it's time to start a new file, and finally replay this game after many years. In the intro cutscene, we see Kirby just enjoying life as usual, but when he pulls out an apple, he drops it and it rolls down the hill. And while Kirby is chasing it, he trips and starts rolling down the hill really fast. Bandana D is fishing at a pond, and the apple drops in the water. After Kirby bumps into Bandana D, we see that there's a little hole in the sky, and it suddenly just absorbs all of the color in Dreamland, and everyone becomes still like a statue. After all the color gets taken, a paintbrush-like figure comes out of the hole, and gets chased by these hand guys. She paints Kirby and Bandana D back to life so that she can hopefully be saved, and Kirby jumps right in just in time. And Bandana D gives them a little poke with a spear, and they go away. Now that they were gone, Kirby finally took a look around him, and saw that all of the color was gone. The paintbrush fairy, whose name is Aline, tells Kirby and Bandana D that they need to go to space and get all the color back, and Bandana D is immediately ready. Kirby takes a look at his apple he was about to consume, and now he's ready. Aline draws a rainbow rope that leads to space, and the adventure can finally begin. And we later learn who it was that stole all the color, and that was Glacia, Eileen's best friend who randomly just became evil and stopped caring about Eileen. Her and Eileen used to make stuff together. Glacia created shapes, and Eileen colored them to life. Glacia used the color for her own planet called Seventopia, and now it's time to put a stop to her and get all the color back. Also, I'm shocked I haven't mentioned this yet, but just look at that art style, man. This is by far one of the most unique looking games I have ever seen. Everything is made of clay, and it just looks so good, man. Also, I can't be the only one who gets hungry when looking at a clay art style, because I imagine it to all look like cookie dough instead. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse has 7 worlds. You got the traditional grassland, desert, beach, sky, forest, lava world, and an actually unique world, that being Purple Fortress. Each world has 3 levels and a boss. Yeah, this is a pretty short game. We get to the first level, and the game teaches you the controls, and this game controls very differently from other Kirby games. Now, I haven't played Kirby Canvas Curse, which I still find shocking due to my love for Kirby, but I know that that game has you draw rainbows with the stylus, and you also tap Kirby with the stylus to make him go faster and knock out enemies. And you can't walk or jump with Kirby or do anything else that the Kirby games are known for. Rainbow Curse uses that exact same style of controls, and I've heard people talk bad about it, but honestly I had a blast controlling Kirby. The rainbow ropes you draw are limited, and the more you draw, the more the meter depletes. Once it's empty, you can't draw anymore, but it can block stuff like projectiles, and even water or lava, and you can't draw in these gray areas either. But the meter automatically refills, so you need to use the rainbow ropes to get over large gaps or to go higher places. And as for collectibles, each level has 5 treasure chests, a couple of them having only 4. These are this game's version of energy spheres or code cubes from other modern Kirby games. They each have little goodies inside of them, those either being remixes of songs from other Kirby games or figures. And there's a secret diary you can get at the end of each level, and these are pages from Eileen's diary, where you can see her point of view of the adventure, as well as more facts about Glacia. But getting the diary is actually very nerve-wracking, because if you fail, you have to start that level all over again in order to get it, so good luck. The figurines include characters and enemies, and they all have interesting facts and pretty much lore to them, which I find very funny. And there's many remixes of songs from past Kirby games. They didn't need to make all these, and yet they did. Some of these remixes are pretty okay, but there's just one that I truly love. There's also the traditional stars, but they have a bigger role in this game. Once you get 100 of them, Kirby gets powered up, and if you hold the stylus on him, he'll become big and just launch very fast and destroy anything in his way. But no, he's not invincible. He can hold 3 of these supercharged forms, and you can tell when he has it when blue rings surround him. And the stars are important for medals and ranks at the end of each level, and dang, these rankings are way more strict than I remember. There were times where I collected hundreds of these stars, and still only got a silver rank, so each time I played a new level, I was most likely going to play it twice. As for the difficulty, I actually found myself dying quite a lot in this game, which is really rare for a Kirby game, but there's many, and I mean many 1-ups you can find, so you won't be getting a game over. Despite the many deaths I had, I ended up beating the game with 90 lives! There was only one level that was truly rage-inducing, and that was 4-1. It's an auto-scroller, already off to a bad start, with clouds that make you bounce, and you have to try to not fall into the pit. But oh wait, with the lack of ground, you'll be running out of that rainbow juice a lot. Yeah, this level was awful. Thankfully that was the only level that truly felt bad. The other levels were very fun, and that reminds me, I haven't even talked about the transformations. Return to Dreamland had the super abilities, Triple Deluxe had the Hypernova, and Rainbow Curse has the transformations. There's 3 of them, and are sadly only in like 6 levels. You have the tank, submarine, and rocket. With the tank, you tap the touchscreen in which area you want to shoot, and Kirby moves pretty slow, but you can tap him to go a little faster. If you have the supercharge, you can hold where you want to shoot and release a whole bunch of bullets that deal massive damage. The submarine automatically shoots torpedoes, and you can choose where they go by drawing a rope in the direction for them to follow it. Tap the touchscreen in the direction you want to go, and by holding Kirby whenever he's supercharged, he gets to shoot a giant massive torpedo that destroys anything. And last but certainly not least, we have the rocket. By far the best transformation. Unlike the other two, Kirby moves pretty fast, and he only goes forward, but you can control where he goes by drawing a rope. And holding him down whenever he's supercharged just does what normal Kirby does. And only the rocket levels have special escape sequences. You hit a switch and escape from the area in 60 seconds, but the area is pretty big, and it's easy to get lost in. So you literally have to draw a path with the Wii U gamepad so that you don't get lost, or to strategize a faster route. And once you're done, you get to hear the most epic song in existence. There's collectibles that are in easy locations, but time flies extremely fast when you're having fun, so you will die if you try to get them all. And now that I mentioned the music, I think it's time to talk about it. Yeah, it's no shocker that a Kirby game has really good music. The sound design is incredible, which is no shocker from a Kirby game. And after playing through all of Mass Attack last year, and actually beating it for the first time, I noticed so many songs from that game are in here. And it's not just the music, I also noticed some voice clips and sound effects, which is strange. Hey all, future me here. I just wanted to point out that while I was editing, I learned that one of the music composers for Rainbow Curse was the same one who composed many other songs for Kirby games, including Mass Attack. So that's why so many songs from Mass Attack are in Rainbow Curse. And sorry if I sound different right now, I kinda got sick a few days ago, so that's something I found very interesting when editing. The bosses are way easier than I remember them being. You have Wispy Woods, Hoop Lagoon, and the Klaken. With Wispy, you just gotta attack and dodge his bombs. With Hoop Lagoon, you gotta avoid his laser attacks and his electricity moves. And with the Klaken, you have to wait for his tentacles to extend so that you can hit where the spikes aren't at. The other worlds just have harder versions of these three bosses. Also, when you use Supercharged Kirby, you can deal massive damage to these guys. With Wispy Woods, you can deal insane damage if you tap the touchscreen fast enough, and his second fight is only beatable like this, which in my opinion just makes a boss fight easier. There isn't really anything to say about the other two aside from underwater and lava, and that's it. And now, it's time to get to the worst part of this game. Rainbow Curse sadly doesn't have anything like the arena or fun minigames, only the challenge rooms, and that's about it. But there's 48 of them. This game also supports amiibos, but they sadly just make the game easier, and that's it. The Kirby amiibo gives you an infinite supply of supercharge, and that's it. King Dedede gives you more health, and Meta Knight lets Kirby dash faster. And this game can be played with up to 4 players, one as Kirby, and the others as Bandana Ds. It's so weird controlling Bandana D after rolling around as Kirby for so long. I remember playing the multiplayer with my friends back then, and it was a lot of fun. And now we go back to the challenge rooms. Some of the treasure chests in the levels make you go in a challenge room and get the chest. And some of these have very strict time. But there's also a full-on challenge mode where you can do nothing but these challenges. Some of these are pretty fun, while others are just awful. I decided to just go back to my old save file to do these since I completed some of them as a kid, but I was very bad at most of them. And now it's very easy to see why. I was not going to do them all again from scratch because of how bad I remember these being. And you need to get a golden medal in order to unlock them all, which requires you to get every treasure chest in every room. But 2 of them required for me to beat bosses without taking damage, something I never did on this save file. And funnily enough, both were against Hoop Lagoon. I guess I beat every boss in this game without taking damage but him and his rematch, which is kinda funny. But after doing that, I unlocked them both, and I was finally going to beat the last one. This was the hardest thing I have ever done in a Kirby game. I so badly wanted to express my anger I had with this stupid challenge. But you know what would be better than that? A montage of my failure. So have fun. But after finally beating that crappy challenge, you unlock the Drossia figure, as a little nod to Canvas Curse, but now that that's out of the way, it's time to finally beat this game. Eileen sees Clacia and is so happy to see her again, but Clacia just slaps her out of the way, and this angers Kirby, and I like to imagine that this is the only reason why he's fighting Clacia. The battle starts, and it's pretty alright. She surrounds herself with a Grey Void, and she's invincible, but by attacking the spiky spheres that she throws, you can hit it and repel it back to her, and then you can attack her. And just like Wispy, you can cheese this fight by mashing the touchscreen fast enough whenever you're supercharged. And after you defeat her, her sunglasses explode off her head, and you learn that those sunglasses were actually possessing her, and she's back to normal. We now see the real threat, and that's Dark Crafter. He's the one who stole all the color in Dreamland, so that he can take over the universe. It's time to beat this guy once and for all, transforming into a rocket one last time. He spits out a lot of bombs, and you have to navigate Kirby away from the bombs or block them off with rainbow ropes, but doing that is pretty tough since they go away instantly on impact. And there's many bombs. You have to collect stars that are worth 10, and get Kirby to 100 so that he can supercharge and attack Dark Crafter. Do this 3 times and he's dead.
We'll try again.
Once we get back to Clacia, her and Eileen make Kirby a warp star, and they fly back to Popstar to restore the color. And man, I had a lot of fun going back to this game. I barely hear people talk about this game, and that's probably because this game sold pretty poorly, but I want that to change. I had a lot of fun playing this game. The level design is just so different from other Kirby games. There was only one time where I wasn't having fun, but every other level was just amazing. If you have a Wii U, which no one does, then I highly recommend to pick this game up, because it was just so much fun to play. And overall, I give this game an 8.2 out of 10, extra 3 points for having a lot of nostalgia for this game. And with that, I have talked about everything I wanted to with this game. Thanks for watching.